Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to meet Elaine Clark. Elaine, thanks for being here today.
I am happy to be here.
So let's just kind of jump right in. What do you feel the role of a demo is in 2024?
I think that a demo is about showing that you're going to help a client. So because I also cast, I produce, I act, I do the whole thing. So when I just hear a pretty voice that goes up and down, but it doesn't solve a casting problem or a client problem, they just sort of fall into the pack. Instead, it's about finding something that it has a message that's solving a problem that clients can use. And that's really always been the case. It's just that there are more demos out there. So it's thinking about what problem am I solving and what makes me the best person for that. And so every little bit of a demo should show the various styles and how you're solving a different problem.
I love that. No one has explained it that way.
Okay, well, I
Nice.
guess that's part of it is I've been on all sides of the glass. So
Yeah.
for over 40 years. So that just comes from experience.
Um, do you specialize in any specific genres?
I only specialize in the ones that I've done, which are commercials, narration, character, toy, um, video game. Um, and there may be something I'm leaving off. Some promo, but that's not really my expertise. I've done some, but it's I'd say primarily commercials, narration, characters, for video game or animation and toys. So
Okay.
yeah, just a few.
All right. What criteria do a talent have to meet for you to work with them on their demo?
Well, I think whoever is working with a demo producer should have the same language. So what works for one director might not resonate with another. So I always like to at least have one meeting with someone to see how experienced they are and see whether we talk the same language. Otherwise, we're just talking past one another and it's not that successful a performance from either side. So I just like to meet with a person, hand them a few scripts, usually just off the cuff. If you know the business, we are professional cold readers. We should be able to make anything sound good. So if you have to look at it for 5 minutes, that means you're not ready. So it really is we know the whole thing is about a problem. We knock down the problem, we give the solution, we send it off to the world to do something with it. That's in every single script. So why do you have to study it to figure out what it is? It's already there. So anyway, so I'll just meet with someone. We either click or we don't, based on their experience or budget or whatever it is. And then sometimes I say we need X amount of lessons before we get there. Other times I say, here's your assignment, then let's go. So it really is I treat everyone optimistically, and also truthfully. So if
Okay.
someone's not ready for a demo, I'll say, we're not ready. And if they're like completely green, I'll send them to my book to read. There's Money Where Your Mouth Is. This is it, so people can see it. If they want to get into podcasting, there's voiceovers for podcasting. They can go to my website, ElaineClarkVO.com, and on there I also have a podcast called Real Talking Tips, and so that follows the book with all sorts of instruction. I also have a couple apps, Activate Your Voice, which is 5 minutes voice and diction app, and Adding Melody to Your Voice, which is how to emphasize words using the word emphasis chart and using physicality and gestures and movements. So I'm really big into putting it in the body so that the body knows and feels and reacts. And there's little thinking. The thinking is done in advance as you're learning this job. And after a while, there's really nothing new under the sun. There are slightly different attitudes, but they're all. So I really work with people and say, look at this. Here's the formula. You don't have to invent it script by script by script. This is it, but this is the different problem that you're solving. And it's about tempo changes and pitch, and placement. So they're just, anyway, so I just cover a lot of things. Sometimes people are like, whoa, that's too much. And other ones like, give me more, hit me with your best shot. Um, so we're open to it, and then we'll see whether it's a good fit and go from there.
Okay.
I've produced about 5,000, 6,000 demos over the course of time. So,
So
I
you
know
know a
it's,
thing or two.
yeah. And I'm
Uh,
usually the only person. So I direct it, I produce it, I engineer it. I mean, they're engineering it and sending it to me to edit. So I'm very hands-on. And also I write, I give every candidate for a demo an assignment to do, and then we co-write scripts together. I really, really hate receiving demos, just from the casting and directing side, where I've heard the same great script on 10 different demos. If it's a good script, people like to use it, but
mhm.
instead of go, let's change it up. I mean, in my book, I wrote over 200 scripts that are in the book, and I worked for an advertising agency for a while, and I wrote copy for clients. So I have a lot of experience in that.
All right. You just answered half my questions.
10 questions all in one. Boom, boom, boom.
That's amazing.
Skipping forward.
Um, do you ever work with outside coaches that might want to come in and direct the talent during the
Um,
recording of a demo?
I have from time to time. It's usually not the case, but I have. Um, but I think that every director has their style and their ear for something. So sometimes I just have to just go, oh, direct it a completely different way and just be quiet because it's not my job. So it's not something that I really like, but I do work with people who study with various coaches, and then I know not everyone, but I know a fair amount of people and what they're really good at. And that way I can also define what they already know and what they're good at and try to tap into that. So that's how I work with it more on you've worked with this person, you can have this, or my job when that initial meeting with someone reading is to see if there are any repeatable issues or whether it's a fluke. Like, oh, I just didn't look at that. I didn't realize it said small when I said, so it's like, okay, well, that's no big deal. Um, yeah, so I think that we're all looking for the same thing, which is a good product that makes everyone happy and book someone jobs.
Okay. If somebody comes to you and they've already got maybe their audio recorded and they are looking for someone to just add the music and the effects and kind of put it all together, is that something that you do?
Um, if I like what they've done. So I really kind of stand behind what I think would be good. And if they have a different view of what good is, I will just say I'm not the right person, but because I I really think about the music and how the music works with it and how it works with the read. So if I'm just adding it after the fact, it's usually not something I can put a huge stamp on and say I'm so proud of this, because it doesn't excite me. What excites me is working with talent, getting the best out of them, finding these different characters they didn't know that they had inside them and pushing their limits. The other is just editing. So
Gotcha.
that's just me. Sorry, other people will get a thrill out of that, but that's, I do it, but I do it in a completely different style.
Well, that is why we're asking the questions, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so my final question is, why is somebody going to choose to work with you?
Well, if they want something that's original and creative and that shows their personality and how they're a problem solver in the booth, it's for the client, and that they can do something very, very quickly, and they have choices that are very strong that they can make, then I'm the person. If you're just trying to slap something together, I'm not the person. So I want to be able to stand behind it with pride with who I've worked with. And that's why I have a bunch of demos on my YouTube site, and they can get to it through my website, ElaineClarkVO.com. And so since I've been doing this for over 40 years, I've found some shortcuts of working with people and how to get to their most creative side and what their blocks are. So then I kind of guide them through those sections. We all have days that were fabulous and days that, oh boy, should not have gotten close to copy. So we've all had those days where, and that sort of shows up. But I think of it like I put on different hats of I'm directing this for a client to use. And if this will sell products for the client, it is successful. I don't produce demos so that people just sound pretty, because that doesn't help anyone. That just sounds pretty, but it's not useful. So those are ones that I, as a casting director or as a director, seldom hired or passed along. I'm doing it based on my life experience and directing games and toys and commercials and narration and, all this other stuff. So it helps having that 360-degree viewpoint of what's going on. So I'm solving someone's problem, but I also want to of getting work, but I also want to make sure that we have a fun and and creative um, experience together, because it's a little bit like improv when we're working together. So you come in with some ideas of what you want, and some of them I'll knock down, and other ones I'll say, that's great. And it could be based on your vocal quality, your background, something I hear in your voice that says it's a lie versus this is the truth, something that you're passionate with, something that you're not, something where a product that I go, oh my God, I've heard 10 demos with that client on there. Let's not use that. I try to make it really unique and different and special for each one. That's what I like to do.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your time.
Oh, good. Well, it was a pleasure being here, and I look forward to talking to you and other people in the future.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.